Fade to District 128 logo. Fade into board members seated at table. Wes Pullen.
All right, we're good. All right. Good evening. Going to call the December 15th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting to order. The time is 6:46. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everyone stands for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone returns to their seats.
Right. Roll call, please.
Nina Austin.
Here.
Jim Batson. Raul Deschmuck.
Here.
Doug Flegel.
Here.
Middleish Cotwall.
Here.
Wes Poland.
Here.
Julie Simpson.
Here.
Wes Pullen.
All right. For tonight's agenda, we'll start off with the invitation for public comment. Then we will move on to discussion. And then we will adjourn into our regular meeting. So let's start with our invitation for public comment. Any members of the public wish to comment? Sure. Okay. All right. Then we will move on to our discussion, which is the D128 2027-28 district calendar review. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Colentus.
Yes, thank you. This is the annual presentation that the District 128 Calendar Committee makes to the board. The Calendar Committee each year meets in the fall to create and recommend a school calendar for the Board of Education to approve and to review, of course. The Calendar Committee in District 128 is composed of students. All of our school board representatives were invited and many participated. It is composed of staff, both our ESP and certified staff, as well as administrative staff. And it is also attended by a Board of Education representative. In this case, Ms. Austin was the representative. The Calendar Committee comes together in the fall. We review the District 128 calendar creation guidelines that have been established over the years. And this year it was determined that we would give a school community survey in order to gather feedback about the things, the variables in a calendar that were most important to our school community at this time. As you well know, trying to create a calendar to meet the needs of our entire school community can be a challenge because there are many things that people would like to see on the calendar. So the Calendar Committee gave the survey as a way to help understand what the community's priorities were. This year, when we sent the survey out, we sent it to all students, all staff members, and all parent guardians. We received nearly 1,000 responses, and the responses were organized by priorities, and those tended to break down into three broad categories. The highest priorities for the calendar from the community was that schools should start no earlier than the second week of August. That's different. We had been starting before that time, but the community was very, very clear that they wanted us to try to find a way to push the start date back a little bit later in August. The other thing that was overwhelmingly clear, especially from our students, was that first semester final exams should be held prior to winter break. There were some middle priorities that were much less than those first two, but that would be to try to align our calendar with the feeder districts, our foundational schools. The challenge there is that we have 4 foundational school districts, as you know, so aligning with all 4 of them can be a challenge. There was a desire to see if we could create non-attendance days for religious holidays, as well as to consider the entire week of Thanksgiving as a vacation week. And then the lowest priorities from the community were that the school year should end before Memorial Day and that both semesters should be equally balanced. So with that information, the Calendar Committee worked together to create a few drafts of our 27-28 calendar. and we are submitting that for you to review. I just will highlight a couple things. One is that this calendar does meet the community request to start our school 1 week later than our recent calendars. It starts August 15th. So this was the number one priority that we heard, and this calendar does that. The first day of school in 27-28 for students would be Wednesday, August 18th. We started on a Wednesday. That was also something that students and staff felt was better than starting on a Monday. We also have first semester finals before winter break. So the top two priorities from our community were able to be met by this calendar. Because we're starting a week later, we believe we'll have greater alignment with our feeder school start dates. We also will have alignment on spring break and winter break with our feeder districts. The other thing is that this will, because we're moving the start date back a week, we also have to move our end date back. So the last several years, we've been ending school before Memorial Day. This calendar, however, ends school the week after Memorial Day. And we worked with our students on this. They gave very good information. They did not want their final exams to be split over Memorial Day weekend. So we found a way to have final exams be immediately following Memorial Day. There are two things with this calendar that we will have to consider in the future. And one of those is graduation in 2028. So typically graduation has been the Thursday night before Memorial Day. And that means that it is a final exam day. In 2028, that would be a regular school day. And so we will have to kind of figure out how we would run graduation and what we would need to do to adjust maybe graduation. That's something we have time to figure out. We have 2 years. One of the questions is, might we decide to move graduation off of Thursday night onto a weekend is something we may consider, but we will put a separate than the calendar committee. If the board approves this calendar, then our district administration will work with our buildings to create a process for reviewing our options for graduation. The other point that I'd like to highlight is that this calendar remains an operational calendar. And by that, it means that we are not able to take any religious holidays other than the religious holidays that are mandated by the state. I do want to highlight that our committee did hear as a middle priority that there was a desire to try to find ways to incorporate non-attendance days for religious holidays. And the committee did a deep dive on this and did spend time studying this issue and looking at this issue. The committee basically came to a place of saying, if we're going to celebrate some religious holidays, we need to celebrate all. And the challenge of recognizing all of the major religious holidays are that some years, based on the calendar, it might only be 2 days, but other years it could be 6 or 7 holidays that we're trying to incorporate into the calendar. And that would push school back to mid-June, making it impossible to run summer school and still start in early August. So though the committee discussed this and really worked at some iterations of it, it was determined to maintain an operational calendar. Good Friday is the only religious holiday that is incorporated into this calendar, and that is a state mandated holiday. And what the committee said is that in the future, we will try to incorporate Good Friday into spring break as a way to mitigate that as well. In 27-28, Good Friday does not fall until April, so we weren't able to do that. But in years that it falls in March, that would be something that the committee would look to do. The other piece that I want to highlight is we know how important it is for our families and our students to celebrate religious holidays. And so one of the outcomes of the committee work was to create a better, more assertive way to highlight when religious guidance would be in place. If you look at the 27-28 draft calendar, you will see that we have incorporated religious guidance into it as an orange RG. Those are not school days off. Those are days when a religious holiday would be falling on a day of attendance. And it is a note to our community and to our staff that religious guidance would be in place, which is monitoring and restricting the type of work that a teacher can assign during the day and to students at home in the evening. We are also working on a new updated district calendar for our website that will better be able to communicate the religious holidays and the religious guidance to all members of our school community. And we have heard very clear feedback from our students that some of the religious holiday guidance sometimes gets forgotten or lost or missed by well-meaning staff. And our building principals and our district administration, our teaching and learning team will do a better job of making sure that we are notifying staff on these dates and trying to make sure that we don't have staff who accidentally forget to put the religious guidance in place on the days that it's scheduled for. With that, we submit the calendar to you as a board for review and discussion, and I can answer any additional questions.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Clentus. Questions?
Pause for questions.
No?
West Poland.
All right. Well, I guess I've got some questions. So I appreciate the religious guidance because when the calendar discussion was had, was it November 2023? Is that when the changes were made?
Yes, that fall of 23, yes.
Yes. Okay. I know at that time, I don't believe that there was a religious guidance document presented. So I think this will be helpful moving forward because I think a lot of promises that were made were not necessarily fulfilled. So we have to make sure that we are
Momentary pause.
following this. And so that leads me to my question. When we say that no student will be penalized in any manner, what is specifically included and how do we intend to communicate that to staff and also our families?
Yeah, so on a religious guidance day, what we do is we make sure that students who are missing school for religious guidance, one, they are not penalized for their absence. Their absence is considered an excused absence. For privacy reasons, we cannot ask students, are you missing for a religious holiday? We just allow students to call and say they're going to be excused. However, if a student and a family is comfortable sharing that they're going to be out for religious purposes, they can talk to their teacher in advance, and they can also have work given to them in advance so that they can do that around their family's celebration. But even if they don't, their absence does not count in any negative way against them. And then what we have asked our staff to do is to, on the days religious guidance is in place, not to give any major assessments, any major summative assessments, so final unit exams, any type of big types of writing assessments that would be done in class, any type of labs that would be impossible to make up on another day, or any type of classroom experience like field trips and things that you couldn't make up outside of that day of school. We would be saying no and restricting. Students would be allowed to either make up those exams they would be allowed to make up any work that was being done in class on those days and would not be penalized for any of that as well. We have a system where we have a calendar that we highlight all of the religious holidays that are happening during each month. And our Mr. Varn, our Director of Equity, sends out emails to staff highlighting when religious guidance is going to be in place. We need to make sure that that is information that is seen by all staff members. So we have to look at that communication, and we have to make sure that if we hear that a staff member has assigned work on that day, that we're following up with that staff member and that we are addressing that, because that would be something that would not be allowed under this guidance.
Okay. So when we're talking about extracurriculars in sports, if there is a team policy that if an athlete misses practice, they cannot start in the next game. Okay. So if a athlete misses practice for religious observance, will that athlete then be subject to the team rules?
Yeah, we would not have that. That athlete would not be penalized. I'm going to verify that. Bryant Kelly talks to our athletic directors all the time. Bryant, is that the correct guidance for that?
Brian Kelly.
I believe that's the guidance we're giving, but I'll have to check with them.
Yeah, that would be the spirit of the policy, is that because it's a religious absence, it is excused. It is not an athlete making a choice not to be there because they want to go out with their friends or they just don't feel like going to practice. I don't believe that we would have a coach that would penalize our students for that. And I would make sure that that coach, through our athletic directors and our building administration, would understand that that's a violation of the spirit of our religious guidance.
And our religious guidance says that optional practices or rehearsals may be scheduled on these days, but no student will be penalized in any matter because a student requested and received an accommodation pursuant to this policy.
Okay. So is that the spirit of the policy moving forward or currently?
That's the current.
That's the current policy, current practice.
Okay. Because I don't think that's currently happening.
So when I can say that two things. One is sometimes because we can't ask a student if they're absent for a religious holiday, sometimes a coach may not know. If a student just doesn't show up to a practice but doesn't tell the coach it's for religious reasons. So that's one thing. We need to help our students understand that if they want those exemptions, there is sometimes a need for extracurriculars to share that. But secondly, I would encourage our parents and our students to understand too, that if they are getting a feeling that there's a consequence for that, to talk either directly to their teacher or coach or to their supervisor. Because again, this policy is very clear. It's something that our district is committed to, and we would absolutely work to help resolve that conflict between a coach or a teacher and a family.
Right. And I mean, listen, in theory, this is great.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, theory and reality don't necessarily match up. And this is one time where we really need it to match up.
Yes.
So I think for me, the biggest piece is really finding out how we're going to train our staff, because I do think there's a training component. And then also the communication to parents, our families, as well as like for the attendance monitor, I noticed when you do the drop down, there's no option for observing religious holidays. But now that makes sense because we can't ask.
Right.
Now, what if the parent chooses other and then in the comment box puts observing a religious holiday?
Mhm.
Then is that fine if the family is providing that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, families can provide us the information. We just can't ask them for it.
And then in the religious guidance document, it asks that the students give the teachers a week notice, which I think is fair and reasonable. But as students are becoming familiar with this plan, will there be reminders sent out? Like maybe at the beginning of the year, like if you plan on.
That is our intent. Yes.
Okay.
And the advance notice is only if the student wants work in advance. So if a student if it's just a normal day of class and the student doesn't tell the teacher in advance, they're not penalized in any way. We don't expect students to have to tell their teacher, hey, I'm going to be out in advance. The only reason for that is that sometimes a student may say, I'm going to be out for a day of class. Could you give me the notes and could you give me the materials and the reading assignment because I want to read it a couple days before? And that's where we ask the student to notify the teacher in advance so the teacher can prepare those materials. rather than the student just the day before saying to the teacher, I'm going to be out. Can you provide that for me?
Okay. And then this will all be updated in the student handbook. All right. That's it. Anybody else?
Yep, just want to echo what Wes was saying, and I think it's overall a well thought policy, and already you have provided some rationale as to how it will be executed. It would work well. One thing is again being proactive and telling the community and the students and the families that we can in a way treat this as an excused absence, but when you're doing that, sometimes a proactive excused absence is an option. So that's how it can be used in a more productive way, if I may say.
Jim Batson.
Just a quick question / comment. These procedures and things that you're discussing now, those aren't waiting until the 27 school year.
No.
We're talking about doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm assuming. I
They-
just want to
they-
make sure that's clear.
Yes. And part of the discussion at the committee was the way we would strengthen those, both the communication, proactive communication around it, as well as the responses when those have not been put in place.
Mark Schaefer.
Yes.
I just want to give again a special shout out to the students that participated on the calendar committee. In my career, I've sat on many calendar committee meetings. I can tell you, as I had a front row seat to this, that our students actively participated and actually provided a lot of sage guidance, and which helped to inform our decisions as well. You know, at the end of the day, yes, it's important that we create good calendars for our parents and community, but we serve our students. And so it was really gratifying to really engage with them in this process too.
Wes Poland.
All right. All right. And with that, we will adjourn the committee of the whole at 7:07 p.m.
Jim Batson.
Okay. And we're going to roll right into the board meeting since it's after 7 o'clock already. So I will call to order give Carol a minute here.
Pause for note taking.
Okay, ready to roll. We call to order the December 15th, 2025 board meeting at 7:10 p.m., the regular Board of Education meeting. Can we have a roll call, please, Carol?
Nina Austin,
Here.
Jim Batson,
Here.
Raul Deschmuck,
Here.
Doug Fliegel,
Here.
Middleish Cotwall,
Here.
Wes Poland,
Here.
Julie Simpson.
Here.
Okay, we're all here. I'm going to do a quick review of the agenda. We have some communication items, including a invitation for public comment, our student school board reports, a couple FOIA requests, superintendent's report, and then we'll have the consent vote agenda. Action items tonight include board policies for review and monitoring. This is a regular thing we do. Budget preparation resolution, 10-year health life safety survey, solar agreement, HVAC replacement for the LHS main gym, HVAC system, acceptance of the HVAC equipment purchase for the VHHS pool, and then one discussion item, the board policies. This will be a first reading for board policies for this group of board policies tonight. And then our standard information. We'll have board comments and events. I'll have a brief IASB report. Anything from CEDAW tonight? Okay, we'll have a brief CEDAW report, and then that looks like about it. So we should be able to get through this, hopefully, rather quickly. Invitation for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board?
Pause for the public.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Student School Board Representative reports. Take it away.
Annika Toletti.
Good evening. I'm so excited to share how VHHS students have been doing their part to leave a cheerful and positive impact on community members with the upcoming holiday season. Back in October on Halloween, Backlight Theater Company students participated in their annual Trick or Treat So Kids Can Eat food drive, where they collect canned goods and non-perishables in the Deer Path community to donate to Vernon Township Food Pantry. Senior Taylor Schmidt shared, "This year's Totski was really special because we collected a record amount of food and almost double the amount that we had last year. It's an amazing event to be a part of that does good for the community and builds friendships within our theater company at VHHS." The chamber choir also recently spread holiday spirit to multiple community members with their singing. Senior Sierra Ovrovic explained that the chamber choir went caroling in the community, where we visited places like Lurie Children's Hospital, the radio station, and a bunch of retirement homes. "This is one of my favorite days because we get to bring joy to those who may not have the ability to do holiday activities." The news outlet ABC7 Chicago covered this event and noted that former Lurie Children's Hospital patient John Ziegelbauer, a VHHS junior and member of the chamber choir, came back and performed there. ABC7 shared how this is a moving holiday message for all of us to never give up or to lose hope. Finally, members of the Future Leaders and Activism and Government Club flag at VHHS, including Ashva and myself, helped set up a student-run fundraiser over 2 days of concert in conjunction with the music department programming with the Hawthorne Middle Schools. Miss Wendy Meister-Loria, Flag's teacher advisor, said that through the generosity of our community, we raised over $500 selling hot chocolate and cookies, all of which was donated to a local organization that provides support to families in need. Miss Amel believes that activism opportunities like this show students that small choices can make a big impact. Thank you so much. And then I will also read Ashva's report. This is for Ashva. I'll be sharing his updates on student experiences related to college application support and ongoing school lunch reforms at VHHS. He first gathered feedback on the College Resource Center and student experiences with college counselors. Seniors Rohan and Christine both emphasized how valuable the CRC's drop-in sessions have been during this final month of college applications. They shared that having easy, informal access to counselors for last-minute questions, essay feedback, and application clarification significantly reduced stress and made the process feel more manageable. Both students also highlighted the usefulness of the CRC's posted resources, particularly information on college opportunities and scholarships. However, they noted that while some scholarships were posted through the CRC, many major opportunities were ones they only discovered through independent research. They suggested creating a more comprehensive and centralized scholarship database for seniors, which could be especially helpful for future classes navigating the application process and trying to avoid missing important deadlines. Since the CRC handles local scholarship, this could be facilitated by a different department. I also gathered student feedback on school lunch access, particularly during later lunch periods. This is kind of building off of his previous reports. Students Adit Naik and Mohit Sendil Kumar noted that access to food options during 6th period and later lunch periods has improved compared to earlier in the year. They appreciated the progress made toward better availability and choice. However, both students in 6th and 7th period emphasized that inconsistencies remain, with a few options still being vacant, and they hope to see continued improvements to ensure that students in later lunch periods have the same access and options as those earlier in the day. Overall, students are grateful for the district's continued efforts to support them academically and logistically. They value the resources currently in place while continuing to advocate for more equitable access to both college support services and school lunches. Thank you for your time.
Olivia Bush.
Good evening, members of the board. Just to reintroduce myself, I'm Olivia. And tonight I wanted to highlight the role of the Vernon Hills Academic Resource Center and how it has played an important role during one of the most demanding moments of the school year, finals week. This period requires students to balance multiple cumulative assessments at once, which often leads to increased stress. Research consistently shows that academic pressure peaks at the end of the semester and that targeted support can make a measurable difference. Across Illinois suburban districts, school-based academic support has been shown to improve both in performance and confidence during high-stake testing periods. Data from Illinois State Board of Education shows that students who regularly access supplemental academic support are more likely to demonstrate gains in core subjects, particularly math and reading. In suburban high schools, tutoring and resource centers have been identified as effective tools for improving course pass rates and reducing the number of students needing academic remediation. These outcomes reinforce the idea that consistent, accessible academic support helps students better prepare for cumulative, wait, you know what I mean, cumulative assessments like finals. At Vernon Hills this past week, the ARC was consistently busy throughout the day. Students sought out support in math, science, world language, and writing, including those last-minute essay questions that tend to appear during finals week. ARC Executive Board member Shub Sharma shared that organizing these sessions requires significant time, coordination, and commitment from the entire Executive Board. This work is strengthened by the guidance of Mrs. Garcia and Mrs. Schwartz, whose leadership ensures the ARC operates smoothly during high-demand periods. I myself am a peer tutor and have experienced immense gratitude for the adults who fight for this academic resource to be accessible year after year. The ARC's strong attendance during finals week and the weeks before shows that when academic support is accessible, students do use it. More importantly, it shows our district's continued commitment to student success, well-being, and academic growth. Thank you.
Andy Trobe.
Good evening, everyone. With the end of the semester coming near, Ruhi, Ava, and I have been enjoying spending time reflecting on the first half of our senior years and our plans for the rest of it. One thing that has stood out to us this semester and will stay with me for the foreseeable future is the countless opportunities available to students in the district. I found that teachers at LHS take pride not only in the quality of education they provide, but also in the relationships they build with students. Additionally, resource areas and extra support opportunities, such as the ones Olivia mentioned, provide clear paths to academic success. Another source of pride for the three of us is the variety of extracurricular activities available to students in the district. Whether that's rooting on our athletic teams, like the girls and boys basketball teams, both of which beat Lake Zurich this week, participating in cultural clubs such as Muslim Student Association or Black Student Union, or being active community members through clubs like Top Cats or Interact, LHS students are grateful for the abundance of ways to get involved and stay involved in their community. Opportunities like these don't just make us better students, they make us better and more well-rounded. And we're grateful for the board's continued dedication to these efforts. Thank you.
Ava Gradator.
Good evening. I would like to talk about the end of the semester at LHS. With finals starting tomorrow, students are preparing for their final experience. I say final experience instead of exams because of the wide array of assignments an LHS student may have during their finals period. I have projects, a presentation, and of course a few traditional exams, but I overall have a very wide range of finals this year. I know many other students do and share this view as well. In my experience, this also allows for better preparation for college because college curriculum also contains many different forms of finals in classes. With the end of the semester and finals, Cook Memorial and Aspen Library host a study night for students. Snacks are provided and every table and workspace is occupied by studying students. Many teachers are there to help students with any questions they might have, and this night is so incredibly helpful. I've gone for all 4 years of my high school career. My friends and I were there studying earlier today, and we have done it for the past years. It's become a tradition for us. Many students greatly value this night, and this opportunity for students is so beneficial and has helped many over the years. Thank you.
Ruhi Patil.
Hi, everyone. Since it's the holiday season, the first thing I want to express is my appreciation for drop-in support spaces. Places like the College and Career Resource Center and MASH have always been helpful, but they're especially useful in this season of high stress as students prepare for upcoming finals. Additionally, with the 27-28 calendar being presented tonight, I wanted to highlight an opportunity for leadership that Libertyville board representatives have recently experienced, participating in the calendar committee meetings. Being able to observe the behind-the-scenes work involved in creating our district calendars have been incredibly insightful. Participating in the administrative processes allowed us to appreciate the level of intentionality and collaboration throughout the district's decision-making, and it's incredibly fulfilling to know that our partnership will benefit future students. It also brought up this sense of curiosity and engagement in me. When I reflect on my own leadership role as president of LHS's Business Club DECA, I know that even something as simple as refining meeting agendas demonstrates how experiences like this are powerful in shaping leadership skills, empowering students, and cultivating intrinsic motivation. By allowing us to see the administration's process and strong supplemental resources, D128 furthers its commitment to encouraging curiosity, growth, and meaningful student investment. Thank you.
Cam returns to board members. Jim Batson.
Okay, thank you very much. Always great to hear from the students, and Ashra, sorry he couldn't make it tonight, but he has an excused absence, so we're okay with that. Thank you for doing double duty there. Okay, moving on. As you'll note, we have some FOIA requests listed in the agenda here, and then we'll move on to, we have a superintendent's report.
So good evening, Board of Education. Last week, we welcomed 140 senior residents of District 128 to the annual dinner and holiday concert at Libertyville High School. District 128 staff members, along with members of the LHS Interact and National Honor Society, helped greet and serve our guests. A big thank you to our senior friends who joined us for this long-standing tradition and for their ongoing support of our schools. I'm excited to share that episode 3 of our D128 Voices podcast is available now. In this episode, I chat with Foundation for Learning Chair Erica Rendell and Foundation's Secretary Melissa Lenzicki to recap the recent big event, share what's next on the Foundation's horizon, and explore how its initiatives continue to enrich the educational experiences of our students. The podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, et cetera, lots of places, and it's also accessible on our 128 website. District 128 Special Olympian Addison Potter delivered an outstanding performance and earned the silver medal in Division 6 at the state bowling tournament in Decatur earlier this month. And Vernon Hills High School junior Elizabeth Rowe, who earned first place in the local VFW Voices of Democracy Scholarship Program for her essay and audio presentation on this year's theme, How Are You Showing Patriotism and Support for Our Country? Congratulations to Elizabeth on this outstanding accomplishment and best wishes as she advances to the district level competition. Congratulations to Libertyville High School senior Eddie Lee, who was the third place winner of this local competition. 8 Libertyville High School and 10 Vernon Hills High School students were selected for the Illinois Music Educators All-State Ensembles. These outstanding musicians will travel to Peoria from January 28th to the 31st to rehearse and perform under the direction of a guest conductor, culminating in a concert on the final day. For high school musicians, selection to the IMEA All-State Festival is the highest individual honor that they can receive. Finally, congratulations to the Libertyville High School students selected for the All-State Theater production Newsies. The show will be performed at the 50th anniversary of the Illinois High School Theater Festival at Illinois State University, and that will be January 9th through the 10th, 2026. Call out to Nate Wagner, who's a cast member, Michael Bowman, cast member, Akshay Jaladi, who's in the orchestra, Matthew Brown, who's on crew, and Andrew Schindler, who's in the orchestra.
Jim Batson.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is our consent vote agenda. Is there any board member that wishes to pull any of the items for separate discussion? Okay, so we'll move on. We need a motion and a second for the consent vote agenda.
Poland, so moved.
Austin, second.
Okay, any questions, comments? Roll call, please, Carol.
Austin,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Deschmok,
Aye.
Fliegel,
Aye.
Cotwall,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Simpson.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. So we have for an action item 5A, the board periodically reviews policies, just on a nothing that's necessarily been changed, but just to review and make sure that they are meeting our needs. So we have some attachments here, and we need a motion to approve and adopt the board policies that have been reviewed with no modifications as presented.
Deshmukh so moved.
Legal second.
Okay, any questions or comments on these? Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Batson,
Aye.
Deschmok,
Aye.
Fliegel,
Aye.
Cotwall,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Simpson,
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. The next item is a budget preparation resolution. Mr. Stanley, you want to give any quick background on this?
It's just an annual resolution that we do this time of year to formally kick off the budgeting process that will start shortly after the new year and culminate with hopefully a final budget in June.
Yeah. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Poland, so moved.
Gutwald second.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, roll call, please, Carol.
Deschmok,
Aye.
Fliegel,
Aye.
Cotwell,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Simpson,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye. Motion passes. Next on the agenda is the LHS 10-year Health Life Safety Survey. I guess it happens every 10 years, right? We need a motion to approve the 10-year health life safety survey.
Poland, so moved.
Deshmukh second.
Okay, any questions or comments on this?
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the schedule for Vernon Hills High School?
Vernon Hills had one done a few years ago.
Okay.
So they had one done a few years ago. So we had the priority A's resolved, and then we'll have to start taking a look at the priority B's as well.
All right.
Yeah, this is a every 10-year thing, and they give priority items, prioritize items that need to be addressed or should be addressed.
Right. But it's per building. So I was just curious when.
Yeah, they're on different timelines.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call, please.
Fliegel,
Aye.
Cotwell,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Simpson,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Deschmok.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next on the agenda is a solar agreement with Forefront. It's something we've been discussing for a while, but Dan, do you have any quick background you want to?
Yeah, bringing the NIA on board, as we discussed a few months ago, was extremely helpful. They ran a RFP process with several companies to submit ideas for putting solar on both of our buildings. Libertyville is just not quite ready for that yet in terms of the ages of their roofs. Once we start replacing those roofs is going to be when the time comes for that building, but there's plenty of space here and potential soon for more solar. And so we have Forefront is a company that stood out in terms of the RFPs. And so what this is a 20-year PPA, power purchase agreement. Essentially what we're doing is we're agreeing to buy the electricity that is generated from the solar panels for a negotiated rate. And that rate is fixed for 20 years, which is fantastic. So we anticipate, based on our best estimation of how much power will be generated, we'll save approximately $14,000 a year on Vernon Hills. So it's not huge. It's not going to replace the electricity in Vernon Hills. It's a step in that direction, but there's going to be a lot of panels on the roof. And then as we replace more roofs across this building, we can add on into the future as well. So we're excited to move forward and finally get to the point of putting solar on top of the roofs.
Yeah, and quite possibly further down the road, that 14,000 might grow.
Yeah, it could be more too. It just, NIA is a little conservative in terms of the estimation. Like for example, if you have a day that's really high peak, so a day that you need a lot of electricity for to run air conditioning or something, and it's really hot, you actually could save because the panels will take that first edge off. But you can't guarantee that because that day might be cloudy. So right, it's not something that you can guarantee necessarily, but that's their best estimation.
Okay. So I need a motion to authorize the administration to sign the energy service agreements with Forefront Power pending final approval from our legal and superintendent.
Motion Fliegel.
Poland, second.
Okay, any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Clarifications maybe. So this is kind of a lease agreement, right? It's basically Forefront is coming to VHSS, installing the solar panels and kind of leasing our floor space or our roof space, and we are buying the electricity for them at a negotiated price. Is that the right way to think about it?
It is a reasonable way to think about it. We're not really renting, we're not leasing anything to them because there's not really consideration. But we're going to allow them to install and own the panels. We're not leasing the panels, not anything like that. It's going to be theirs, and once the term is done, it's their responsibility to take them back.
And so that was my second part of the question. So during this 20-year period, we do not have any obligations to them, or are there any contractual obligations other than those panels being on our floor? on the rooftop?
No, I mean, there's maintenance and things like that that are going to be associated with panels like that, but that's built into the agreement.
But that's still to be taken care
Mhm.
at their end, not
Correct.
something that we have to.
Correct. That's part of why we decided to go with the PPA. It's not there's ways you can save more money by doing it yourself, but the PPA allows basically we're outsourcing all of that to a company to handle all for us, and we're just gonna pay for the electricity and just take the savings.
Thank you.
West Poland.
So the panels are going to be installed on Vernon Hills where we've had the roof recently replaced, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Or
So
new roofs that never existed before, like the West Gym.
okay. And then what happens when that roof needs to be replaced?
The roofs that we're picking are based on roofs that we don't anticipate replacing within the life cycle. But should we have a roof so we might have a roof that needs to get work done. We'll have to work with the company to remove the panels so that we can access the roof and do the work that we need. But we don't anticipate, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't reasonably anticipate that we're putting solar panels on roofs that we're going to be replacing within the foreseeable future.
Okay. And then
Mark Koopman.
That is true. Yeah. In our design that we do our roofs, we design our roofs for a 30-year lifespan. So even though some of these roofs are a few years old, it still falls into that category where we shouldn't have to have the panels removed off a roof, in order to replace a roof.
West Poland.
okay, so at the end of this agreement, will they then take their equipment back?
Yep.
And then what does that do to the roof?
Hmm?
What happens to the roof when the equipment is removed?
Dan Stanley.
Well, in approximately 20 years or so, let me say it this way. Both in the installation and in the removal, we're working with our consultant to make sure that there's no damage or anything affecting our roof quality or warranties. So it's possible 20 years from now when they take them off, it depends on what happens then. We could, like, for example, we might extend it for a little bit more time. If everything seems fine, the conditions are fine, the roofs are fine, we might not do anything. It kind of depends on the situation there and what incentives there might be 20 years from now. So we don't really know what's going to happen at the end of the 20 years. But we know that based on the timing, when those come off, we'll have some roofs that are going to start getting closer to the age of replacing. But we don't anticipate that they come in, they remove the things from the roofs and our roofs are damaged and we'll have to replace them based on that.
Okay, because I mean, no offense to anyone, but I don't plan to be here 20 years from now.
Some of us will still be here.
And I just don't want to create a situation where we're burdening like the next generation and creating a big problem for them.
We are that's a good question and a very, very good thought. We're trying to be careful to not do that. We're trying to set up the future better than we had it coming in.
Okay, great.
And
Thank
if
you.
I can add just one more thing on the same thought.
Rahul Deshmukh.
The agreement, when we are whatever would be the agreement that would be finalized, I think there is this labor cost component that is associated with this repairs and something happening to the roof in between this 20-year period, which is a super long period. Let's ensure that we have adequate provisions built in to ensure that our district doesn't have to bear those costs for things that we can anticipate can happen. For example, after 10 years, we need to look at the roof, something underneath the roof, the panels have to be taken out for whatever reason, and we need to ensure those costs don't come on us, but it would be the utility company who is taking over those costs. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is like now houses are having similar things that these energy companies are coming in, putting in roofs, and it's a 20-year, 10-year lease agreement or whatever it is. And then something happens to the roof and they say, sorry, it's your responsibility to get the panels out, put them back and stuff, or we will charge you for all those things. So again, let's ensure that the agreement is foolproof to protect us from those
Yes, all of those things are part of the things that we're still finalizing in terms of the terms, but the idea is taking all those things into consideration. Is our intent.
Doug Flegel.
Dan, with our previous action to pass the budget preparation resolution and the discussion of not only this project but a couple capital projects we're going to be talking about here shortly, are we able to put together a bit more of a tangible 3 to 5 year capital budget projection or forecast to solidify a bit more of our intentions? To tie back on what Wes shared is, when our term is up, we want to leave the next generation in a little bit better spot than what we're working with. And rather than taking a reactive approach and, well, we need to work with this and work with this, if we can be a bit more proactive, are we able to put a 3 to 5 year capital plan in place as part of this budget process?
We already have we have a plan that goes much farther than that already that we can share at a future meeting with you.
Okay.
It's something that lives and breathes and gets adjusted every year. But there are very few things that end up on a capital project list that aren't already scheduled to be considered multiple years in advance.
And what would be important for me is more immediate to 3 to 5 year projections. Obviously we have to look out 10, 15, 20 years, but the immediate would be important.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Julie Simpson.
Anybody else?
Yeah, is there an estimate as to how much energy this is going to create versus what we use? And I mean, I know it depends if it's sunny, if it's not, but I mean,
True. That goes into that kind of is built into the calculation of the 14,000. I do have the information about how much it would produce.
Momentary pause.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Momentary pause. Dan Stanley.
The proposed system with Forefront is approximately, this is not my area, but approximately 645 kilowatt system DC. So it would produce in 1 year approximately 786,000 kilowatt hours.
Julie Simpson.
we don't know how much we use, right?
Pardon?
We don't know like how much approximately we use, right?
We do. Yep, we do track that. The way I tried to articulate it, at least in the information, is we spend roughly $500,000 on electricity in the district or at Vernon Hills, and so this will save us approximately 14,000 of that. So it's a relatively small percentage, but I can get back to you on the energy. We do track the usage of energy, but I don't quite have that readily available.
Because we're buying energy back at a fixed rate. So my question is if we're producing more energy than expected, are they selling that energy to somebody else?
Dan Stanley.
I don't anticipate. I don't know that there will be points where the panels will be producing more electricity than the building will draw.
Okay, but yeah, we're not sure how that all is gonna fall. Like we're the only purchaser of that energy?
Correct.
Okay.
Pause for discussion and questions.
Okay. Anyone else?
Jim Batson.
Okay. Can we have a roll call, please?
Cotwall.
Aye.
Poland.
Aye.
Simpson.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Deschmok.
Aye.
Flegel.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. That's a long time coming, but it's a good step in the right direction. LHS main gym HVAC replacement. I know we've had some conversation about this. Dan, you want to give just a brief?
Stan Stanley.
Yeah, originally we had been looking at the HVAC system in the LHS gym. Those who have been around for a while have known we've had a variety of issues in that space, and so we've been toying around with several temporary issues, but the permanent solution is to replace that system. And so Mark's been working with our designers to come up with a solution, and we originally thought it was going to be considerably more expensive. Our estimate originally was 1.85, but actually the cost for replacing that is going to be 1.28 million. And so we are very interested in moving forward with that. Part of the reason we're doing it now is just that the lead time for HVAC equipment is extremely long. And so we want to get this and the next piece of equipment on order so that we can have them in time so that everything's ready at the end of the summer.
Mark Koopman.
Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. In the situation we have at Libertyville High School, that's the original equipment from the building when it was built. When the building went to air conditioning in the late 90s, the only upgrade they were able to do it was original heating coil only. So they were able to put a larger coil in, but it only provides 60 to 70% of the capacity that we need. So on those hot, humid days in the summer, we get sweating on the floor, makes it slippery, for summer camps and that, and even during the school year, we have to monitor and do some extra things to address that. So with the original cost, when we looked at it, what we're doing is
momentary pause.
Custom building units to fit in the penthouse. So the original design, when they looked at it, we thought the cost was going to be a lot more because it's a custom build. So actually the pieces will come up, we'll demo the units, and then it'll come in pieces, and then it'll be assembled inside the building, piece by piece. So when they finished the final engineering on it, that's when we realized there was large, savings according to what our estimate was in the beginning. It was a very conservative estimate.
Jim Batson.
Okay, sounds good. Can we have a motion and a second?
Olin, so moved.
Second.
Okay, and this is to for the HVAC replacement project at LHS main gym for 1.281430. Any questions, comments from the board?
I have a question. So you said the 1.85 million was conservative, but then the quotes came in at like 1.28. I mean, that's like what, $568,000 difference. That's $500,000. So what happened there? Like, why was
Mark Koopman
so much?
Like I said, it was a very conservative estimate in the beginning. When it came out, they hadn't done any engineering. So to give me a budgetary price of what it could be, when they looked at the project, that's what their engineers thought it could end up costing because it is a custom size unit. Once all the engineering was done, we checked to make sure we had the electrical capacity to run the equipment, and all those things were put into place. The cost of the project dropped dramatically.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're going to get all the parts.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not missing something.
Okay.
That's always the worry when the estimate is so different, that have they considered everything in the scope? Because that's where sometimes we find that out very late, and then we are just coming back to the board asking for more money.
Right. No, this is a turnkey project, and we added $100,000 contingency if there's some unforeseen condition. Once everything is taken out, if there is modification or something comes up, then we do have contingency to cover that. And that's the $100,000 is. should
And
cover
this
everything
is equipment and install.
equipment
everything, yeah.
install, all controls, the full package. Is a turnkey project. So, once they start it and finish it, the project will be totally completed.
And that's the reason for my previous comments is there's a disparity here. We had some overruns on the work that was done this past fall at Libertyville. I'm just challenging us as a board and administration to tighten up the immediate needs and the upcoming 3 to 5 years, so that it just seems to be a bit more cohesive in bidding as well as pricing.
Dan Stanley.
Yeah, we have that, and we'll share that at a future meeting.
Yeah. I think that'll be very helpful for you. We just haven't had a opportunity since most of the board members have been seated to go through that. So
Thank you.
we'll do that.
I have a question. So again, specifically about in context of LHS, would there be any kind of asbestos abatement considerations that we have to keep into mind? Because I don't know how the ducts, vents, and all those things flow through the building, but will that be a concern that has not been thought of into the scope of the work?
So we went in and we tested. I just got the results back this morning. So there is blanketing on 2 of the pieces of equipment in the penthouse that do contain asbestos. So we will have to do some abatement.
Rahul Deshmukh.
No, all I'm saying is
Since- yeah.
that's one of the big things
But
that might pop up
As far,
again.
so we tested everything that's there. The rest of the ductwork and everything else in the building does not contain asbestos. It's just up, excuse me, on the air handling, 2 air handling units that supply air. The return air units that are presently there do not have insulation. So we will address the abatement before the project begins.
Jim Batson.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please.
Poland,
Aye.
Simpson,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Deschmuk,
Aye.
Fliegel,
Aye.
Cotwall.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, another HVAC system. This one at the Vernon Hills Pool. This will be a summer 2026 project. Let's start by, can I have a motion to approve the HVAC equipment purchase with Train for $689,027?
Motion Fliegel.
Poland second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? I have a question. This is equipment only?
Correct.
Yeah. So this is to get it in so that it's here by the summer.
Yep.
And then we'll bid the
Bidding the
install.
installation, yes.
This also includes for $57,498 of that price, which is noted as item B. That is all the controls for the building automation system to program it so we can, run it efficiently.
So everything talks to each other.
Yeah. So it talks to our system. Yes.
Okay.
Julie Simpson.
Any
is
other questions from the board?
Oh, yeah.
Go
What
ahead.
is the typical life of one of these things?
It's inside the building. They say 20 to 25 years. And the unit we have now is about 25 years.
25 years old. Yeah. Okay.
It's the original.
The original unit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, being in a
West Poland.
climate like the pool, does that impact the lifespan?
Yes, it does. So that's why we're looking at this unit now. The unit that's presently there, parts are very hard to get for it. And service techs for that unit are specialized for that. It's called a Dectron unit. So we are going to a different manufacturer and doing a different type of dehumidification. Presently, it's reusing some heat to heat pool water. So as part of the project, we opened bids on Friday for the installation. We're looking at also as an alternate to add a new pool heater, higher efficiency pool heater.
West Poland.
And this is part of is it the matching grant, Dan?
Dan Stanley.
Yes, I forgot it was, but yes, it is.
Okay.
Good call. Good memory. Anybody else? Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Simpson,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Batson,
Hi.
Deschmuk,
Aye.
Fliegel,
Aye.
Cotwall,
Aye.
Poland.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next item is a discussion, and this is a long list of board policies that are up for a first reading. So just as a reminder, we do the first reading, then we do a second reading and adoption. So this gives us some time to ask some questions. I know there were some questions posed, and I don't know if everyone's had a chance to see the questions and the answers, but those are out there, and we have some time to review those and ask additional questions if you come across anything. But a lot of these, again, as pretty typical, it's either responses to changes in legislation or adjusting some links or some footnotes to match the changes in school code or something to that effect. But again, we don't have to take any action. It's just a notice and a notice to the public that we're reviewing these policies. Any questions or comments on any of these? Okay. Informational items. Anyone have a board comments, events that you'd like to share? I have a few. Okay, I'll move on with mine. Note that for January, it's been tradition that we've moved our board meeting from the Monday to the Tuesday at the end of the month, and that's to accommodate and give board members the option to attend the EdRed legislative dinner. This we've typically had pretty good attendance at this. It's a very good program. You get to network a lot with other districts, board members from the area, as well as our local legislators. So it's a great opportunity to meet them in person, have a conversation with them, have dinner. This is held at Stevenson High School. It's a great place. They do a great job facilitating this. We get to hear some of their musicians and things play. So it's usually a very nice event. If you're at all interested in attending, which I hope you are, contact Carol and she'll get you signed up for that. I plan to be there, and I know at least Wes will probably
I
plan
will
to be
definitely
there.
be there.
Just a quick announce. Can I take your thunder?
Sure, go for it.
Wes was invited and it has been appointed to the executive committee or executive board. I'm sorry, executive board for EdRed. So wish her all the best with that. It's a great organization, and it's great that we have representation on that organization so that our voice can be heard. So that's a good thing. Just a quick comment. Appreciate everyone that attended the III, the joint conference, just a few weeks back. It seems like a while ago, but just a few weeks back. The Lakes Division, and part of that was a vote by the state board to approve a Lakes Division bylaw change. So we're all part of the Lakes Division. I sit on the executive, I'm the vice chair of the executive committee for the Lakes Division of IASB. And that bylaw change allows us to have two more directors at large for that executive committee. So it's more of a notice here because I have my seat for another a year and a half or something like that. But this will give opportunity for more districts to participate and have more voice in that organization. And we basically organize our fall and our spring meetings for the Lakes Division of IASB. So that was the result of activity that happened at the III. So I think that's all I got. Anyone else? You have Nina has
Just
a seat on.
one announcement that the governing board meeting, we unanimously voted Dr. Jennifer Thomas as the new superintendent, and that will of CEDAL, and that'll actually take for the 26-27 school year.
Good. Okay.
Jim Batson.
Okay. Hearing no other items, we have our future agenda items listed here. I will note that I will be absent for the committee meetings on January 12th. I'll be traveling back from a conference that I'm participating in. But there's anything else that we want to add to this? Certainly contact.
Mark, how's the committee agendas looking for next month? Light?
I'll have a special presentation for you at our next committee meeting in January on a possible proposal for the board to consider. How's that for a teaser?
Okay. Well, I was asking if maybe we could entertain maybe doing committee meetings and the regular board meeting one.
So as this, we can, we don't need to do presentation in January. So the board can certainly consider, maybe we can consider piloting for the remainder of this school year, dispensing with our committee meetings on a monthly basis and moving to just our regular board meetings. We can either consider doing a brief committee of the whole prior to the board meeting, or we can just roll into our board meeting and hold those once a month. And I would submit or suggest that we consider maybe piloting that for the remainder of this school year, trying that out. And certainly we would have the opportunities to hold special meetings if we needed to. But at the end of the school year, we can consider how that worked for us.
Julie Simpson.
I really like that idea, but I think what we should do then is we should alternate buildings every month so that we're still, I don't know, being equitable.
Yeah. The comment I would have on that is we'll have to vote to change our calendar, won't we? Our meeting calendar, because we vote on that every year. So we could do that in January if we want to make an adjustment. And then I would also suggest that maybe we look ahead to anticipate when those special meetings would happen. I would anticipate that around budget time, because we typically have some additional special meetings for that anyway. So just so that we can sort of lay out what the rest of that year might look like, so we can talk about that in January. I mean, tonight was a great example. We had one item that would typically fall in one of the committees. So Wes led us through that item. And, often there's not a lot to talk about, but sometimes there is. So I think that's a good suggestion. So if for January, maybe we just consider trying to do both of those on that evening.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Mark stated that we could try it as a pilot to see how it goes before we say that, no, this is what it's going to be for the future. So we can try it out, see how it goes, including the logistics that you have one meeting in this building, the other meeting the next month there a couple of times. If it works out, sure, we can then vote on what you suggested, that this is what is going to be the process for the future. But until then, we can just pilot it and not necessarily have a full vote.
Jim Batson.
There was actually one other
So just if the board is amenable, then we can look at starting in January, the one meeting format. We'll publicly notice the cancellation, but we can share with the public now that we're looking at the one board meeting. And that would be on Tuesday, January 27th, which is our regularly scheduled meeting. And then in moving forward, look at the one meeting format. So if we go with that, we would be at Libertyville High School in January 27th.
Yeah,
Dr. Albin.
Great. Okay.
Jim Batson.
I did have one other item on my list of things to note. Coming up in the March, I need to look at my calendar to make sure I'm saying this right. March 13th, 14th, 15th is the annual COSPA conference, which is the national organization that IASB, our Illinois Association of School Boards, belongs to. I attended this past year. I actually presented last year, and it's a great conference. I think it's a great networking opportunity, but it is a national conference, so it involves some travel. So We can't necessarily have a lot of people go, but if you are at all interested in attending, it's in Louisville, Kentucky this coming March. I again was offered a presentation, so I'll be doing a presentation at that conference in March. But if you're at all interested, send us a note, send copy Mark on that, and we'll look to see who's interested and how we can accommodate that. So, anything else? Okay, that's a lot. That's good. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Deshmukh second.
Okay,
Simpson.
it's Simpson. Julie.
Deshmukh.
Okay. Need a roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Good evening.
Fade to District 128 logo. Fade to black. End of meeting.